Good afternoon, friends. Welcome to Africa Connect. Let me introduce myself. I am Sumit Govind Sharma, a proud working committee member of the Indo-African Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and also the CEO of Group MRP India Private Limited. Today is a special day, a day where many of us in India are here to revisit Africa. This is the new Africa that is taking shape as a prominent partner in the global enterprise. Indo-African Chamber of Commerce and Industry is one of the most premier and apex chambers established in the year 1985. The main objective of the chamber is to promote the century-old ties between India and Africa. Let's look at some numbers of the chamber. We have more than 87,624 joint venture synergies executed between the MSME sectors of India and Africa, and also under the Public-Private Partnership Agreement. We have more than 1,587 projects which have been executed. We are recognized by the African Union and have signed 287 MOUs with the various chambers of commerce in Africa for joint partnership. Now let me give you a short introduction about the speaker. Although she does not need an introduction, she is already known and very familiar in the industry, but I would like to formally introduce her for the sake of those who have joined us for the first time. It's Madam Sunandha Rajendra. She's got more than 32 years of vast experience working with both the chambers, that is the Indo-African Chamber as well as the Indo-Arab Chamber. She is one of the founders as well. She has traveled to almost all the African countries. She has led 1,278 members of delegations overseas and got the opportunity to represent the country 105 times. She is presently doing her doctorate in Indo-African Trend Opportunities and Challenges. She has been awarded a title of Mama Africa and also known as the Encyclopedia of Africa. The objective of this webinar is to bring the business community of both India and Africa closer by removing the obstacles and giving an easy solution, thereby encouraging and motivating the business community, enabling them to achieve their goals. This is just the beginning. This is the start of a longer journey. In the coming months through Africa Connect, we will be showcasing people who have built these bridges, both from the industry as well as the people in power. This will help you correctly understand the opportunities in Africa and the route to convert it into a successful business. Now I welcome Madam Sunandha Rajendran to address the webinar. Over to you, Mama Africa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sumit, for the beautiful presentation. Namaste, viewers. A very good afternoon to all of you. Excellencies, my colleague committee members, ladies and gentlemen. We are meeting after 3.5 months for the first time in life, a long duration, a long gap. COVID-19 has changed our life. It has brought a stop and put a big question mark on survival of each and every one. So one sincere request, don't get panic, don't get depressed. It is a testing time. Remember only one thing, that if we will survive, we can conquer everything. So please don't be in a hurry to go out of the house, because whatever sincere efforts all of us have taken by following the lockdown, it must not be destroyed or create any harm to us. COVID-19 has affected globally. You are not alone in this fight, but the entire world is with you. Take usual precautions, and I'm sure very soon one day will come when we'll live our life normal. As Sumit has correctly said, that the plans of the chamber, what we propose to do and what we are doing. From the registration point of view, I have seen that 30% are the members who have registered us, and 70% of the non-members, newcomer, who have zeal of developing, promoting business of Africa, have joined us together. So for all those newcomers, I would like to inform that our main object is to promote Africa, to give a ready platform to all users, people from India, people from Africa, bring them more closer to understand each other, to do more business, to avoid complications and to create obstacles. Our chamber is exactly giving a hand-holding support, acting as a catalyst, as a facilitator, and providing solutions to both the importer and exporters. And this attempt, we have made it, it is an awareness campaign for people to understand what is Africa, how one has to do business in Africa, what are the do's, what are the don'ts, what precautions, benefits, deliverables, and things, so on and so forth. The attempt is made for startups, for small medium enterprise, for multinational companies, for corporate and companies dealing in multi-sectoral activities. Many a time it is seen that people are tempted to do business with new countries, but are not fully aware about the business transaction, the pattern. And similarly, when there are no things available to study, there are language barriers, people are coming from unknown to each other. So it takes time for people to give them hand-holding support. This is exactly what our chamber is doing, that we are playing an important role, holding your hand and taking you to Africa, introducing you to Africa. And we are supporting you, guiding you, so that we remain with you in the journey and we help you in achieving your object. My presentation today, I'm going to show you some slides also. And in my presentation today, I'm going to show you important thing, what is Africa, why Africa, what are the potentials in Africa, enhancing business opportunities in Africa, and what are the expectation of Africa from us, and what are the synergies India needs to do while doing business with Africa, or how to be a successful business person in Africa. Africa indeed is a big continent, more and more people joining together, so that what happened, we can provide an excellent services to people of both the continent. Africa is the second largest populous continent after Asia, having 1.25 billion population, and they have rising middle class. I'll just quickly show you some slides so that you'll get an idea about Africa. Africa is, if you can see our punchline, that explore Africa, the market of the millennium, make Africa your partner. These are the 54 countries. Many a time people are mistaking Africa with Nigeria, Africa with South Africa, Africa with Ghana. People don't understand what Africa is actually. So for all those newcomers, I would like to say some basics of Africa, that Africa is a continent comprising of 54 countries. Africa has been bifurcated into 5 zones: East Africa, Western Africa, North Africa, Central Africa, and Southern Africa. East Africa comprises of 19 countries. I'm giving you bifurcation of 54 countries. East Africa comprises of 19 countries. The current population is 329.5 million, and it is projected in 2030 433.7 million population. East Africa total GDP today is $292.6 billion. Whereas Western Africa, we have 17 countries, and the population 2019 figure is 387.5 million. And it is projected by 2030 to increase 512.4 million. And the total GDP of Western Africa is $600 billion. North Africa, there are 7 countries involved, and the population as of 2019 is 246.5 million, and projected in 2030 291.3, and the total GDP is $679.3 billion. Whereas Central Africa, there are 9 countries involved. The population was 141.9 million, projected is 193.1, and the Central Africa total GDP is $482.5 billion. Whereas Southern Africa, which is also known as SADC, the population is 200, and the projected population 2030 is 271.8 million, and the total GDP is 625.4 billion. Now you can can see this presentation, why Africa? Why Africa has potential to boost global growth, enhancing the business opportunity in Africa post-COVID-19 scenario, in which we are asking, is Africa truly worth investing? Can multinational companies succeed in the region? Is African consumer opportunity still as attractive as it once seemed? And the strategies to succeed in Africa. Now, Africa, as I told you, that 54 country, 1.25 billion population, untapped natural resources. It is a continent of millennium, because you see now, due to COVID, America, UK, France, everything has gone. So Africa is the only continent of the millennium which is promising certain business opportunity, which has rising middle class. Now, Africa has a new wave of enterprises. They are planning to do reductions of unemployment, illiteracy, hunger, and inadequate electricity. Enormous scope for vast recycling to produce electricity. Urbanization is great. It is projected that 50% of the population will be staying in town and cities post-COVID. Now, what Africa has, as I'm again and again repeating, that unexplored natural resources. Growth in Africa market is very big. It has 50% of gold reserve. It has 90% of world's cobalt deposit. It has 40% of the world's potential hydroelectric power. It has 65% of manganese deposit and millions of acres of untilled farmland and large reserves of oil. Now I will just show you the business opportunities in Africa. Here are some design. We have shown you that sector-wise opportunity in Africa. You have banking and finance, you have minerals and metal, you have real estate, you have hospitality, entertainment industry, oil and gas, education, cosmetic, energy and power, IT and ICT, auto spare parts, infrastructural development, agriculture, pharmaceutical, engineering, textile, fabric, furniture, jewelry, paper product, machineries, retail, healthcare. Now, since COVID is everywhere, amongst the lot, these are the sectors which has throughout the year the opportunities in Africa. But post-COVID, special emphasis is going to be there on healthcare sector, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, hospital, then laboratory, super specialty clinics, the mobile app for healthcare, means information technology, skill development training. These are with special emphasis. Then comes the agriculture and then the rest. If we think in terms of enhancing business opportunity, these are the important point, whether it is truly worth investing in Africa. Can MNC produce, succeed in the region? Is African consumer still is an attractive as it was before? And the scope for local produce to become local brands beyond traditional commodities like crude oil, minerals, cocoa, coffee, and timber. But before that, I would like to share with you that the Africans who were residing in UK, USA are now started coming back to Africa back again, and they have opened up domestic companies, and these companies are today over $3.5 billion revenue earning companies. And you may be having this kind of companies to the tune of 250 to 400 in most of the African countries. And they are investing and they are getting good amount of returns on their investment. And that is why it is always advisable to do business with this kind of a company. Africa today is definitely a happening continent. All major power across the globe have recognized their significant positive changes. Africa is no longer a dark continent. It is not backward. It is a progressive continent and a developing continent with less political risk, less poverty, and out of several diseases. So please do not get carried away by wrong publicity about Africa. Please do not have a negative thinking about Africa, because what you see in the TV channels and all, and what Africa is shown is not the Africa which is now. Africa is far more better. It is very progressive and it is full of opportunity. Africa has made turnaround from all these depths and have reached in last century. And today it is in the mind of everyone. So globalization has already incorporated. Today Africa is home to over half a dozen of the fastest growing countries. You will yourself experience that nowhere in the world the impact of economic growth and the development is as visible as it is in Africa. The total collective GDP of Africa is $3.6 trillion. The rising middle class, earlier their spending was $860 billion once upon a time, and today it has crossed to $1.4 trillion, and it is reaching day by day on a higher ranking. Now, Africa, therefore, is obviously an important region which we cannot afford to take it lightly. If you will see, there are still these four countries, USA, UK, France, and China. These are the four countries are still on highest ranking in investing in Africa since last 3.5 decades. That itself is a plus point which shows why Africa is important. One should think that if these people can be successful, then why not we? Today, if you will see in the scenario, UAE and India are two countries who have joined together, and UAE has already crossed $18 billion of FDI in Africa, whereas India has already given 110 billion of line of credit in Africa. So if you can find the reason that why these countries are still dominating Africa, you'll get the answer. The answer is very simple: because they have realized that they're sitting on the gold mine. They have invested in millions and they are recovering in billions. Whereas we keep on talking about lack of good governance, we keep on criticizing the system, we complain, and still these four countries are minting money in the existing situation as well. So we have to give a serious thought to it. We have to study, do some little more research on their patterns, how they are making this much profit in the same very Africa where you and I are trying to do business. So my request to all of you that before going to Africa, give a serious thought, do some research, see their pattern of approach, see how they're doing business, and see how they have become successful, adopt those synergies, and no wonders you can also be successful one or the other day. Enhancing the business opportunities. Now, when we're thinking in terms of enhancing the business opportunity, there are, as I've shown you in the last slide, that these are the sectors where there is business. Africa has agriculture business, which is going worth $1 trillion by 2030. Africa is still importing a lot on $30 billion for food import annually. There is enormous scope for crowd farming. Power and energy, Africa provides climate-friendly solutions, and that is why it has become the global test point. Transportation in African city is growing very fast. In this slide, which I'm going to show you, is the sectors which offer the highest growth potential for Africa in the next coming year. Here you will see that agriculture is 31.4%, mining and metal opportunities are 28% in Africa, oil and gas is 18%, tourism and hotel is 16.7%, but Now, as of now, due to COVID, we never expected, none of us expected COVID. So the serial number 4 has now become serial number 10. Travel and tourism have literally closed down. Then comes the infrastructure, consumer product by 13%, construction real estate is 9.08%, telecommunication is 8.04%, financial services are 7.2%, and information technology is 7%. Having said so, these are those areas which are showcasing that how much demand there lies for each and every sector, and we as an Indian economy, as an Indian business entity, how much we can explore out of this. In this slide, you will see that I have given you two comparison that more than half of Africa's 54 countries are expected to grow faster than 5% annually till 2025. Now, compound annual real GDP growth, if you see, the countries like Cape Verde, Sierra Leone, Ghana, Burkina Faso, Equatorial Guinea, Mozambique, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda. These are the countries growing as compound annual real GDP growth. If you will see that there are 8 countries who are the largest economy of Africa, they are Nigeria, South Africa, Egypt, Libya, Algeria, Angola, Morocco, and Ethiopia. These are the countries which accounts for 70% of Africa's total GDP growth, which has already started from 2013 and going to end at 2025. So that shows the progress what individual African countries are doing. When we're thinking in terms of those questions which I asked you, whether it is truly worth investing in Africa, my answer would be yes. It is truly worth investing in Africa because Africa sustain and accelerate structurally reforms. We believe that continent can emulate China's rapid rise of last 50 years. Believe me, this is very important. It will have 24 millions more people on an average living in the city every year. It has already started from 2018, and by 2025 you will see the massive changes. Today Africa is accounting 17% of the world's population, which is about 3% of the global GDP. These statistics are not to endorse the failure. This is a sheer example to tap the continent's development potential. The scope of business highlighting tremendous opportunity and also the risk ahead. As long as it continues, it tags economically, it will be a source of global stability, extremism. But if it rises correctly, it will be one of the major source of growth for the entire world. And that is what I wanted to time and again put a special emphasis on Africa's growth, Africa's development, why Africa is important for us. After a decade or so, there will be no opportunity, no room for us to enter into Africa. Having said that, people are talking that, okay, I'm only telling them the plus point and I'm not sharing with them the negative point. See, every business, every economy, they have plus and minus both together. Here also the economies in some countries are in deep trouble due to deglobalization, marginalization, but we have to look at the opportunity by taking a corrective action. A shift to digital could play an important role on an economic recovery in many developing African countries. Now, those sector-wise opportunity which I told, if you would take in terms of infrastructure, $46 billion additional spending required every year to upgrade the infrastructure in Africa. We have also shown you the reserves of gold, the reserves in cobalt, the result in diamond industry. So secular acceleration, structural support, political stability, improve in ease of doing business, democratization, policy coordination, open financial market, and technology transfer, including reduction of debt. And we are talking about reduction of debt. These are the things which are enhancing together the business opportunity in Africa. Reducing the debt is concerned, there are many African countries. In olden days, they have taken funding from China at a higher rate of interest, and they are struggling. Everyone is struggling in life. See, even India was 60 years before what India was, and what is India after 60 years. So improvisation, improvement is a part of process. So similarly, what we are helping as a chamber focused on Africa, we are taking the help of our ambassadors based here. We are approaching to their government, and we are helping them through our corporate member by the name Blend Finance, who are our member, and they are involved into financing, creating structural finance, project finance and all. And they are also playing an important role and offering their financial services to various African countries to take those loans at a reduced rate of interest and pay off those old debts, so that when they are not paying high rate of interest, with that minimum amount or balance amount, they can grow, they can spend for their own growth and economic development. Now, when we're talking in terms of Blend Finance, they have already been doing various project finance in countries like Seychelles, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Ghana. They are now proposed a paper in Burkina Faso. They've already been doing in Kenya, in Tanzania. And with the help of the chamber, we will see that we'll go gradually to almost all the African countries. Many investors sees investing in Africa as the final frontier, which is as other emerging market. As I told you that the largest economy, I've already told you that Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Ethiopia, it is very similar to much of the MENA region, that is Middle East and North Africa region, for oil, whereas South Africa is considered as more strong and developed market for mining industry is concerned. Whereas the sub-Saharan Africa has a lot of opportunity for agriculture, and the largest producer of gold, platinum, and chromium is there in sub-Saharan continent. Talking in terms of Libya, Libya is having one of the largest oil reserve. It is the 8th largest reserve of the world they have in oil, and about 10% of the total supply of the crude oil they are exporting to Europe. That gives the importance of Libya. Doing business with Africa gives you a highest return on investment apart from the risk. Every business has risk, I fully agree. There's nothing without risk. But when there is huge profit, when your profit margin is threefold or fourfold or manyfold, then the investment gives you good return, then the risk becomes minimized. And under such circumstances, you can, or anyone can take that risk to do business with Africa. Before explaining you about further, I would like to just give you the value proposition of India and Africa and the requirement of India and Africa. If we'll see India and Africa, they can gain significantly from mutual cooperation. What Africa needs? Africa needs constructive FDI, that is foreign direct investment, fixed direct investment, the employment and creation of job opportunity, education and skill development, because you see education in Africa is on a very, very minute level. The children of Africa goes out of Africa to study. You see, India is also, we have more than 10,000 African students studying here. So low cost healthcare solutions they're looking for, so that they do not go to other destination for their health treatment, infrastructural growing support and capital investment. What is India's requirement? India needs high returns, growth opportunity, hedging of resources risk, and a base for globalization. What are the India's value proposition? While doing this, the value proposition is low cost innovation and operating model, cultural affinity and understanding. I have seen that many of our Indian, when they start business with Africa, they prefer to go to East African countries. I have very rarely heard that people are starting their business with ECOWAS other than Ghana and Nigeria. Francophone country, no members have so far come and told me that, Madam, I'm starting my business from there. No. So I wanted to tell people that those countries are virgin market. Don't look at the language. We have started in Arab worlds in the year 1980. Arab language also was difficult at that point of time. But today we have groomed up. We have a good and smooth understanding between India and the Arab world. Similarly, my advice to my members or the business community of India that please go to Central Africa. Please visit the Francophone countries. There lies tremendous opportunity. Then comes skill and talent, the entrepreneurship and service orientations. Now, when we think in terms of Africa's value proposition, I would like to say that they're looking for suitable base for globalization for Indian companies. Africa has largest working age population. They have huge untapped opportunity in rising middle class. They have vast resources. Now, when we're thinking in terms of Africa post-COVID, I would say that there is tremendous potential. The World Bank, for the first time in 25 years, have called this period as a recession, COVID period. The continent can eventually look forward to many post-COVID-19 recovery and the growth narratives. The performance of African economies exploring private sector development opportunities are mainly in 8 sectors that will foster the economic growth and diversification, job creation, improved general welfare, all of which are critical for increasing the economic resilience. Over the past decade, Africa was one of the fast growing regions because they were largely able to avoid the worst of the negative effect of the financial crisis and with the sufficient support. It will do the same with the COVID-19 crisis as well. However, there are going to be wide disparities in growth rates and performances of African countries. Exploring these disparities, there will be 3 groups of countries who are going to emerge. So, to meet the post-COVID requirement, how Africa is going to be post-COVID, I would like to just give you a small explanation on that. The first group of country will be the companies and the countries with relatively steady economic performance who have over 2 decades, which will include as fast growing economy like Rwanda, like Ethiopia. Then the slower but relatively consistent economy is Morocco. Barring exceptional circumstances, they will be the best prepared for strong performance post-COVID. Morocco was known all this time was for tourism, but now it is far more ahead. They are out of oil war. Moroccan healthcare is today one of the most efficient in the world, ranking within top 50 globally renowned healthcare services. Now, Group 2 consists of the countries like Ivory Coast, Ghana, whose GDP growth rate have improved significantly since last 2 decades. They have developed improving state capacity, microeconomy, then their relation, microeconomic management and their relation with the multinational. So these are the countries which are having steady flow and state economic development growth. The way Ivory Coast has come in recent year out of the civil war, because the FDI net flow have been more than double. So whenever we think of doing business with Africa, don't look at the problems, the war, the civil war and all. Even if it is civil war, I would say people were talking about South Sudan. Madam, don't go to South Sudan. It's a risky. See, we have problem with Pakistan. We have problem with other borders. We are in Bombay. How safe we are? We are not affected at all what is happening in border. Similarly, don't be panic. Don't get carried away by this kind of a negative impact. Within African continent, there lies business opportunities, there are growth, there are safety, there are economic development growth and safety as well. So when we're thinking in terms of naturally post-COVID, it will be able to recover a hybrid outcome. Besides that, both Ivory Coast and Ghana are world's largest producer of cocoa, and today the price has dropped because the demand is reduced. Otherwise, if you can join hand with people of Ghana and do value addition, you see in United States there is a community of Ethiopia. If you can take Ethiopian coffee, go to Ethiopia, join hand with the coffee manufacturer growers, create a value addition, create a supply chain, create a brand and export to US. You will be literally making huge profit in that. Similarly for cocoa, if you can give any value addition with them and you can supply this to the developing economy, you can really make good money. And with this weak point, the healthcare system in Africa is not as good or at par. There we have very important role. When we are thinking in terms of providing service to 1.25 billion population, you can think how many hospital, how many private clinic, how many super specialty hospitals and services we need, how many doctors we need. So there is enormous scope. The third group will be of the country who are growing slow, substantially like Central Africa, Chad, Zimbabwe, Gabon, Malawi, Nigeria, and Angola. So these are some countries who are coming up slowly, and there lies the opportunity for us. Time and again, I wanted to tell that we have to really make use of this opportunity. You have to think, but don't think too much that, don't take that much time, the opportunity goes out of your hand and somebody else will come. The current government has a friendly approach towards Africa. The vision of our Prime Minister towards Africa is excellent. And the current government is encouraging and motivating to do business with Africa. We must take the chance and we must explore this opportunity. We do not miss this opportunity at all. Now, coming back to the main topic, what are the strategies to be successful in Africa? Number one is, do you research before entering in the market? Many a time people, I have seen that if somebody has gone to Africa without doing any research and have made losses or have not chosen a right partner or could be any mistake, then it become a stamp that, okay, Africa is not good or this country is not good to business or that is not, just because one deal has not materialized or because of your not doing the research, you have wrongly gone in wrong hand, you cannot blame the entire country or the people of the entire country. So do your research before entering in the market to gain thoroughly, to acquire the knowledge, to understand the market, which is very crucial. Like, you must know who are your competitors, you must know the synergy, you must know who are the suppliers, you must know the operating environment in Africa, you must know their working pattern. This research you have to do. Then you have to also do the research how these European countries are doing or they were doing business, what pattern they were using. Then you have to see where does your product stand. If you will come to us, we will definitely guide you that if you want to start your venture in Africa and you are a newcomer, we are definitely going, we have expertise, we can definitely guide you which country you have to start with, where your product is going to be in demand, where it is highly demanded, where it is least not demanded. All those information can be given. But having said that, when we are giving, we have a limited role to play. It is you who's going to be in that country. You have to do a lot of research of your own. Please don't expect a ready platter. If you will put your sweat, you will learn yourself. See, you will fall, make one attempt, two attempts, you are going to fall, but we are here to support you. You're not going to fall alone. We will not let you fall also. You must have seen in the past, I have done several seminars, invited a lot of African ambassadors from Delhi. They were kind enough to come to Mumbai, to Gujarat, to Bangalore, to Hyderabad, to Jalgaon, to deliver a talk about the respective countries to encourage and motivate the people of India to do business. So that is what I mean to say, to do your research before entering in the market. Second is design the product exclusively for Africa. See, design quality product similar to what you are supplying in Europe or in US. You have to take usual precautions. You have to take care while supplying goods to Africa as well, the way you are taking care in European market. Don't think that Africa, sab chalta hai, synergy you take, it's a poor continent, people are starving, they have no money, so you put your waste in Africa. Please don't do that. You are not only damaging your own relationship, but you are damaging the image of the country as a whole. You are damaging the efforts of the chamber, the efforts of the government. The relationship between India and Africa is being getting damaged. So be careful while designing the product. It is always advisable to design a product exclusively for Africa. You see, company like Samsung. Samsung has been designing, Samsung is a very popular brand. They have been designing the product exclusively for Africa. That is why Samsung has monopoly today in Africa. And with new product, they are always in limelight in Africa, and African consumer prefer all Samsung product. So if you feel the synergy should be that you are going to enter in Africa for a longer period, not for a shorter period. The moment you have those feelings, you will never make mistakes on doing these shortcuts. The third point is have your own logistic arrangements. Transport and logistic is still a big challenge in Africa. Because many a time what happened, my observation is that exporters, Indian exporters, when they're quoting price, their prices are always high. The commodity price is very low, but the logistic price is very high. I would advise you for documentation, please give your FOB prices in dollar and then give freight price on actuals. While making the shipments to Africa, please do take ECGC cover, insurance cover. It is mandatory. No shortcuts, as I told you. If you want to cover your risk, don't be in a hurry. Study properly, prepare the documentation properly, and then approach. Now, logistic is concerned. I would give an example that there is a company called PZ Cuisines, a UK-based company. Today, they are number one forwarding company, freight forwarding company. Their roots are in Africa. They're excellent in distribution. And they're very much successful in Africa. So what you can do, you have a lot of CHA, you have shipping companies here. You can ask them to tie up with those company, PZ Cushions. So what happened? Your connectivity comes to them. Your price is also getting reduced. If you're going through a proper channel, they charge you less. But if you go through, I would not say wrong channel, but a long channel, sometimes you may not get proper rates for your shipments. So we have 2 or 3 companies, I remember, like Nicotrans is there, AMI Shipping. AMI Shipping is again, have a Bombay based office, they have office in Dubai, Jebel Ali Free Trade Zone, they have office in West Africa, they have office in Southern Africa also. And you can always contact those companies who already have some presence in Africa. And the best thing what I can advise you that, do your shipment from Dubai. DPA, Dubai Port Authority today, is managing not 1 but 7 ports of Africa: Senegal, Seychelles, Somaliland, and many more. In a year, DPA World is handling 70,000 tons of cargo. So far as Africa is concerned, 2,000 tons of cargo per day they're doing. And it is going straight. It is going within 30 to 45 days delivery to western part of Africa or southern part of Africa, fastest route, or maybe lesser than that. So you can have your transactions or your shipment via Dubai. So there is no port congestion, there's direct route to Africa, because they are going daily to African countries. They are not taking special or extra care for you or to take it. So they are going in that route, you can take it. So many a time the logistic company from Dubai can give you a proper logistic rate. Number 4 is look at and evaluate the payment strategy. Now, many a time people say, of course, banking structure in Africa is not up to the mark. I do agree, but they are developing. They are improving. I have seen in country like South Sudan, I have recommended to those national banks. Some of our bankers were consultants who have 20 years of banking knowledge to work for their bank, give advice to them. I'm working on a proposal with DR Congo, with one of my party, to give them similar services of an agriculture bank, the way we have NABARD Bank in India. Similarly, we are giving them services, consultancy services for transportation within the city, within the state. Some of the African countries, we are helping the government to prepare the policy for customs. So this is a helping hand. See, we are already an advanced economy. We are already a developed economy. Some skilled out of us, if we can share with them and we can help them in grow. So in turn, that benefit will come to us. The benefit will come to our business community. Now, there is a company called Jumia. Jumia is a company which is very successful in Nigeria, something like Amazon. The payment strategy is online. And every customer is afraid of making payment online, payment through credit card, because to unknown entity. It took 5 years for them to penetrate the market, but today Jumia is number 1 in Nigeria. So like that, first attempt, you may achieve goal, you may not achieve goal, don't get disappointed. The market teaches you, you get more experience. What we have been doing, the chamber has identified some good African citizens who are reputed, people of high repute, people who are diplomats, now retired, now working, big business people who are working. So we have appointed as a representative, honorary representative, not on our payroll, but to support the venture of the chamber for this noble cause, to give a local support to our members. So if you are a member of my chamber, you straight away get those contact. So you get those helping hand immediately from day 1 before entering into that market. So for price strategy, we have to the payment strategy. I've already told you that this way we can win the confidence of the consumer. We can tap with the existing entity who is doing fairly good business in Africa, so that your task remain half, your risk is reduced by 70%. Then comes the 5th point, the think about the pricing strategy. What is pricing strategy? Pricing strategy is also very crucial. The income inequality, it is massive across the region, with an average per capital spending. Like country like Burundi, their capital spending is $175 per capita as compared to Seychelles. Seychelles is about $9,000. So this is something that we have to design the pricing structure properly. Then what we are advising people, that why don't you supply in bulk? Start doing the packaging there. In the first year, don't go for big JVs. Big JVs only multinational company can afford. Private sector may not afford, but you can join hand with them and you can have some value addition. Not big investment, some value addition. You have your product being manufactured here. Now we have Atmanirbhar Bharat offered by Government of India. Take the benefit of that. Supply in bulk there. So logistic is come. Like, for example, if you go to East Africa, your logistic expenses are about $5,000, $6,000. Go to West Africa, it crosses $8,000 and all. Consumer pack, you say in 20 feet container, it will come about maybe about 13 to 14 tons. But if you do in bulk, the quantity will be more. And put a packaging unit there or repacking there, make it the local incentive, create employment opportunity, make it a local brand there. You invite and get the incentive offered by that local government and then penetrate the market. And that is the best pricing strategy. Now people, when I'm talking to people about pricing strategy, they said, madam, I cannot quote the price because dollar is fluctuating, rupee is becoming weak, rupee is becoming strong. We don't want those kind of strategy. Some price, some borderline, plus and minus 10% is accepted. Educate your consumer should be a market strategy. Now, here I would say that when you are marketing your product in Africa, you are new. You are new to Africa. African also feel that they are new to you. So in that conditions, you must do branding and advertising of your product, which goes often hand to hand as education. Like you are educating your consumer, you are reaching. You see, we have an advertisement, you must have seen, that one businessman goes to in one area to start a factory and he was asking, will I get the talent? And the girl says that don't judge the book by a cover. Similarly, you have to educate your consumer. If you want to sell your entire consignment to them, if you want to reap the profit, if you want to grow there, you have to educate your end user. Like for example, ITC group, they are my member. Lifebuoy. Lifebuoy is a very famous soap. From my childhood, I'm listening about Lifebuoy. Now, Lifebuoy soap, from Lifebuoy to Lifebuoy hand wash, they have launched in Africa soil very successfully, because that Lifebuoy name was very popular. Whether it is soap or it is hand wash doesn't make any sense, but the tag is Lifebuoy. So when you are doing that, you have a lot of website like africa.com, Africa Today. You can come to my chamber and we can support you. Start marketing your product. Always don't depend on the customer or the indenting agent. Overnight is not going to bring results. See, yesterday we were talking about Hindustan Tea was launched. Is becoming my member today or tomorrow. And he was, yesterday I had discussion with them and they wanted to explore the opportunity in Africa. The name was Hindustan Tea under the heading Atmanirbhar Bharat. It will be my first venture of my chamber, where we are fulfilling the dream of our Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi. Like that, we have to educate, we have to make a market strategy, we have to make awareness about our product, that look, we are going to be here in this market, we are going to remain present, and this is how we are going to grow along with you. Then comes 7, partner with local companies jointly. Time and again, I'm always emphasizing that, look, enter into any market, no shortcuts. It will take time for you to enter in the market and to understand. It is always better to have a local African citizen. I repeat, local African citizen. Our object is to groom local African citizen. to groom local African economies. If we tie up jointly with a local person, so then your tasks become easy. You don't get or expect liquidity from the African partner. What you can get from him, the local license, infrastructural support, maybe land or building, local marketing support, because he knows the rules and regulation, he knows the system, he knows the pattern, he knows the scale of preference, he knows the consumer behavior, he knows the pricing, the local pricing, he knows how he can clear the cargo within, where is the warehouse, how he can reach to people, how he can do business. I'm always advising people that when you are sending a big consignment, have your own presence. Help that African counterpart because he's not having that expertise. He's lacking in those skills. He's not like you. So you have to think that he is your company man in that country. If you will train him, if he will flourish, your business is going to flourish. So you should think that he is part of your company, but he's a local national. Spend on his training, train him properly, go to his country, join in with him, move in the market, study the market, and work. There's a company called Fusion Capital. Fusion Capital have ventured, it's a private equity company. They have entered in East African country, in Tanzania, and they have been awarded a big business of real estate, constructions of township. They had capital. But when you are thinking about masses, how do you win their confidence? How they'll come to buy your flat? Why they should invest in your property? What is your guarantee? What is your genuinity? Who's going to renown you and support you? What they did to be successful, they have approached to the architectural firm in Tanzania. They joined hand with them because those architect companies, they were local Tanzanians. They knew which is the land good for making houses, which is good for the community, and what are the facilities they can give to the people, what makes the package attractive, how to do liaison with the government. Many a time what happened, you start the venture without studying the government norms, and then learning the norm, your project is delayed by 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. Don't do that. Now you will ask me another questions. How do I find and do partner with the local companies? For that, come to us. We have expertise. We will guide you. This representative will help you in identifying these locals. Local may not be financially sound, but he is a reputed man. He knows the market well. You can make use of his contact, give your skills, add your value addition, and penetrate the market. I was giving the example of Fusion Capital, and in 2 years' time, they have sold 68% of their project in Tanzania. Is it possible for any newcomer in the real estate industry to do business? I know so many examples where people have burned their fingers in low-cost housing. People bring the technology. People give presentation on laptop. But when it comes on ground reality, without studying the norms, if you are entering any market, not Africa, don't blame Africa, any part of the world, anybody coming to India, they will burn their fingers. Any Indian going out, they will burn their fingers. Any American is coming, they will be. How many cases of disputes are coming from America business? How many cases of disputes are coming in Europe or in UK? There are many. My friend in those chambers of commerce are sharing with me. So don't always blame Africa. This problem is between two business people everywhere, but not that this problem cannot be resolved. Many company and people are thinking in the region for the first time, they have the worst experience, and they start doing adverse publicity about the African market, for which I have strong objection. See, for your mistake, don't destroy others' business. Not only that, they don't stop here, mind you. They keep on pouring and spreading adverse publicity to people that don't go to this country. I lost heavily, I lost heavily, I lost heavily. If you come to my chamber, I can give you not one, but more than 1,000 cases who have been very much successful in soil of Africa. 1,000 cases and more. When I say I have the proof, I'm doing it, I have experienced that. So what I'm thinking about Africa and what you are thinking about Africa. Africa is upcoming. You understand that you are graduate and Africa is undergraduate. So graduate can teach an undergraduate and bring it to that level. And to understand that level, you have to come down and understand them properly. Now, what are Africa's expectation from India? Africa is also expecting from India. They are expecting what? India's development partnership, which was primarily limited to capacity building and appropriate technology, access to soft credit for infra project. Now, Africa and its people have desire to move to the global value chain at time when India's role in global trade and investment chain is growing. Like they treat India as big brother. They want India to hold the hand of the younger brother, and you grow and allow the younger brother also to grow. Similarly, what are their expectations in the field of healthcare? They want PPP, public-private partnership. Now here what I mean to say partnership, the moment you talk about investment, people get afraid. They take a backseat of investment. Investment means not millions and trillions. Investment or business in Africa can start from $1,000. I can advise you $10,000, $30,000, 1 million, 1 billion, and many more. What we propose to do that, when we are thinking, as I told you, that 130 millions health requirement, we have to find out things like that. Now, African leaders in many countries are young. They have excellent vision. They want to bridge and fill the gap between the promises made and the result achieved. And here we can play an excellent role. So these days what we are doing, the African students who are studying in India, we are arranging a meeting with our members, exporters. We are training these students here, and once their education is over, they are representing the same very company as a placement in their respective country. So employment opportunities created, training has been given, skill development training, and the marketing starts. And he becomes a local resident representative of that country, and he starts doing business. So these are small things, what contribution has been made by the chamber. And this is what we are also expecting from our people, that they have to do like this. We have been doing in India, we have been doing, meanwhile we'll share you some photographs with all our African diplomats and my well-wishers, ministers and all from Africa. Because of their blessings, the chamber has been very successful. This was Vibrant Gujarat, where we have played an important role, brought all the African diplomats and all, and these are some of the contribution with all the diplomats here. We are not only talking about Indian, we are also contributing in grooming the Africans. We are bringing the Africans from their respective country in India, and we are showcasing the capacity of Indian industry, like agriculture. We have Kisan everywhere, every year in Pune, December month, we have an event where agriculture equipment, agriculture technology, agriculture facilities, we are giving them. Then we are also partnering with some of the Export Promotion Council, like EEPC, Engineering Export Promotion Council, for their show, India Engineering Sourcing Show. From 2013 onwards, last 6 or 7 years, we have been partnering with them and bringing a lot of Africans in their show to showcase what engineering industry of India is up to. Then we are also with ITAMA, Indian Textile Manufacturing Association, where we have recently, we have been guiding them about textile machineries, where is the textile market, how one can groom, what synergies can be done. We also have our flagship event called I for Africa, where we are bringing the largest show after the government of India show. We have been attempt of bringing 4,000 to 5,000 African delegates every year. So what we are planning to do is, it is an attempt to bring people under one roof, under one umbrella, to do business with Africa and create an opportunity to simplify for both. And this is how I have given you a general picture about how Africa is going to be, how Africa is, what India needs to do, what Africa has to offer. And see, this is a beginning. In next week, we propose to come. With some diplomats, where we are exclusively requesting them to give presentation on their country business opportunity. Like that, all the 54 countries we will be covering. This slide which shows the details of some of the successful members in Africa, where you can see Cipla is #1 in pharmaceutical. We have Phenolics, we have SR, we have Ethiopian Airways. When they started their office, they were my first member. We have Patel Engineering, we have Aramex, we have Atlas India, we have Tata, we have Kalpataru, we have Bidani Cement, we have Nirma, and Gen Irrigation, Jandu, and so many. So this is where we have hosted His Excellency the President of Mozambique. We have hosted the then Prime Minister of Ethiopia. We had hosted the Prime Minister of Mozambique. He was earlier in 2005. He was our ambassador in Delhi. Then we have also hosted Burundi Vice President. So we do what we believe, that we still need to play a very pivotal role, and there is much more to play and much more to do. We have to tell the Africans, explain them about Indian market. We have to also identify right partner. We have to train them for procedures and regulations. And we have to see that we have to walk equally. We have to take equal risk, and we have to do business and share the profit equally. So with this word, I think I will conclude here. And I would like to, this is how the chamber is helping in promoting the Africa trade, in identifying outsourcing, the country and the project, the guidelines and useful tips, and identifying the African counterpart, the project finance, transfer of technology, and so on and so forth. So I conclude here, thanking all of you for being a wonderful audience, for listening to us very patiently, and we'll see you soon. And before I close, I would like to show you one slide. We are not taking question answer here, because many of you are new. There won't be one or two questions. There will be many questions. So we are giving you an email ID here dedicated for that. You can connect me with Zoom or with Skype, or you can send me questions or whatever you have in mind on that email ID, and we will soon approach to you. So thank you very much.